Hello and welcome back everyone, and in this video we're going to talk about Shopify SEO. This is my 101 starter course for basic product page markup. So with that being said, this is Dark Marketing. I'm your host Big Dom. Let's get started. Now let's just take a look at some random Shopify sites that I pulled up doing a few quick searches, and look at this product layout. Now, this is not my favorite approach, but you can see it's a little off the beaten path. This is the heading 1 title for the page, but it is not the SEO title. We don't really have much description. As we look at this one, we see this is a little more standard. Again, we've got what is the page title, and there's always different options. I like how they do this with the expandable accordion, but we don't see much description. Again, options, colors, the title, and there's some description here. Okay, here again we're seeing these same two pieces, more comprehensive description. Again, see, 1, 2. Even though the details may vary for products, that architecture is basically standard. Okay, we see it here on all of these sites. Okay, now let's look at when we're either editing or creating a new product page. A good starting approach for your pages is to just say what it is. We're going to be doing a sweatshirt, but it's a men's sweatshirt. If you have a brand, the brand should be second. You want to get that brand if you have a searchable brand name for your product. And then a description, long sleeve and black. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4 connected dots. Google understands this. It likes things organized in a sense that it's easy to read and establish what the products are, because Shopify sites are often quite large. Okay, so you need to use your judgment with that, and of course a little good keyword research is going to come in, because many of you are not going to have brand products. So let's take a look. If you've got a lot of products, you might want to, at least for the short term, take a look at getting the Keyword Explorer with Ahrefs or a comparable product. But with something like Ahrefs or SEMrush, you're going to get a much more expansive keyword research tool than you're going to get with something like, say, Ubersuggest. So that being said, I did sweatshirts here initially, and here's men's sweatshirts, high volume searches. So we want to take advantage of those phrases. And then we can take a look at what are some of the things that really can enhance our search, like best men's sweatshirts. So I might want to come back here now and say best men's sweatshirt, long sleeve, black. And maybe, is mine a crew neck? Is there some descriptive word like cotton I can put in there? People are searching for that. So we not only want to be descriptive in our ability to make Google understand it, but also that we're capitalizing on keywords and phrases that are important to incorporate for SEO. Now, depending on who your product provider is, some of them provide you descriptions that you can use as a starting point for your products. Okay, now let's assume that you don't have that. You've got to make your own descriptions, and you need to move quickly in the short term. So see what I've got here? Generate text. I've installed the Magi AI Write Description plugin for Shopify. It is completely free, and as you'll see, this is a nice quick tool that can really help speed you along. So since I have a very nice keyword accurate description of my product, let's see what happens when I put features when I add this into the features and keywords. And also, look, we can say different things here. We can set the tone, which is also very nice. So I'm going to stick with, well, let's try persuasive. That might be interesting. And we can add special instructions, okay? That's interesting as well, but I don't normally utilize that. Let's just take a look at this. Wow, I like that. This black cotton sweatshirt is the ultimate in comfort and style. With its long sleeves, it's perfect for colder days. Wow, bada bing, boom, 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 bam. Nice. And we can try and use that. Or we can just copy that. Actually, I guess I can't copy it, but let's just try another example, okay? Let's do the expert. Yeah, and in fact, I think I like this one better, okay? And that is a nice starting approach. And this is going to be the content that appears on our page. It's short and sweet. And of course, regardless whether we incorporated content that was already supplied from the product manufacturer that we're putting on our Shopify, or we're writing it from scratch, we're going to want to improve that a bit later. But this is what's actually going to appear on the page, like in this example where we're seeing this top title and the content of the page. So going back, what we're also going to need to do now is to go down and edit the search engine listing. This is the meta title, and you can see it's already adopted what we put in the upper fields up on top. Now, if you're in a rush and you're first loading up your website with products and you don't have time to necessarily overly optimize, you can roll with these to get started, okay? And this is pretty good because look at that description where it took us 321 of 320 characters used. And the reason it's telling us 320, because that's considered the optimal number for Google. But having a little more or a little less is just fine. Now, I've loaded up my fictional product image, main image, and I've saved it. So now what we're going to want to do is we want to put a little more SEO magic, and you're going to want to do this for all the additional images that you add as well. So once we click on it, notice that I gave it the file name Best Men's Sweatshirt Cotton Long Sleeve Black, because that just rolls out beautifully as one long descriptive sentence. However, we need the alt text. And in this particular case, that just works beautifully. And that's not always going to be the case, because we're going to look at a different example that we're going to modify and repair in this video. But this is a great example, works perfect just like that. Save. And now we've completed this aspect of a get started SEO mission. Obviously, how you choose to design to do your layouts ultimately is up to you, but I strongly suggest that you keep the main format of a large product image, your title, description, and other images, put them in a carousel or sidebar, as we saw on some of these sites, like here. Scroll down past that bar, you see, where you can click through. You can load your images up, have multiple images. So this is really a good, what I consider to be a good layout. And now we've gotten through that aspect of it to get started and get our products loaded quickly and get the process moving. Now, I also want to draw your attention down to the bottom. If you're setting up for the first time and you're just adding this item, rather than modifying an item, you want a nice URL with your keywords. Same thing, like your alt tags. We want a certain symmetry with Shopify. That's how Google likes things to connect the dots. So speaking of connecting the dots, there's something else very important we're going to need if Google's going to be able to truly interpret our Shopify website. Let's take a look. Now, the next thing that we need to fast track and put our Shopify site in the right direction is tiny image. And you'll see you can search for it like that. That's the true name. Tiny SEO image optimize and speed. Okay, now what this is going to do is provide us some key features and functionality that we need in Shopify. This product's got a 5-star rating and it is made and built for Shopify only. Okay, I highly recommend this. Now let's take a look at what my main features of this that I really think are important. It's priced right. Beginner $14 a month, $24 a month, but if you take it for the year, it's really only $8 a month, and you get the biggest value because you get up to 10,000 free images yearly. Okay, now the two most important things, well, there's actually three. It's going to optimize all of our images, and that's going to give us more speed, and with a number of other features. It's going to give us a sitemap, and most importantly, we need this, JSON LD. What is JSON LD? It is schema for Shopify. It helps search engines like Google, Bing, and Yahoo, including Yandex and others, to be able to categorize and understand your website for the listings. Once installed, it's got several wizards that are easy to run through for the basic setup. And then you'll have all of these nice additional tools on the inside. Okay, and for the JSON LD, you'll have to fill out some personal information about you, your website, business, social media, etc. And then what you want to be able to do is, this takes the headache out of this. We're not going to look at the schema code, but you can paste your URL in for your homepage. It's going to test your URL, and what you want to see is nice green checks, and you can put any product page in after you've loaded it and run it through this rich test results. It's from Google. Just search for the schema tester, bada bing bada boom, you'll find it, and this takes all the headache out of that. But it's critical to have that, because without it, search engines are not going to be able to understand your website. Because Shopify sites are large, they're not going to want to really index and crawl, attempt to understand you without it. So just a critical point to get, and you get a lot of other extra tools in here, including it also has the ability to generate metadata with AI, and we'll take a brief look at that shortly. But wanted to cover that because in this video, we're kind of taking a little different approach with our how to optimize with this, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. Now, while Tiny Image's primary selling point is its optimization or image optimization, it's also one of the top SEO plugins. In fact, I believe this might be the #1 rated plugin for Shopify. If not, it is in the top 3. So I just wanted to briefly take you through some of the other settings as it pertains to our SEO aspects. So if we were to go down to the settings, we can see we have an overview, and this has a lot of automated features to handle things in bulk. So for example, alt text for images, okay? We have the product name, the product type, product vendor, and then this makes this rename all of the alt text in the images on the website using an automation factor with these slugs. This can really speed you up rather than having to take the manual road, and you make the manual adjustments with keywords or anything you want to change differently at a later time. But for an express maneuver to make changes rapidly with a site of 1,000 products or more, this is the road to get started to fast track your setup on the road to SEO. And of course, file names as well. This approach can be taken because you want to rename your image files with the appropriate keywords of what the product is and description a bit to engage, or not engage, but enhance your SEO. Okay, so I just wanted to review that. And also, you can do this with the metadata. However, this is a okay approach to start, but obviously you're going to want to make further modifications to your metadata to make your SEO more precise for the products that you list on Shopify. Now, another thing that's important to take note of here is the Google Base Pages product type taxonomy. And if you Google that, you'll see there's the standard category structure for just about every product on the planet. Now, when we're looking at our products over here on the product page, we have on the right hand side our product category. We can actually search those categories and sync ourselves up by navigating through and set the product category. You can also create a custom category here. So this is important too when you're first doing your Shopify, to get this set up so that Google will better understand your website. Now, the other thing to consider when you're getting started with your Shopify site is your collection pages, which are your main category pages. And you will see an array of layouts for collections pages. And you see this one starts with the content of the products at top rather than the write-up being at the top. Now, sites that actually have good traction have layouts like this where the products are favored at the top. These are well-established websites that already have great ranking and lots of products and are very well established within Google and other search engines. For the most part, the approach to have the written content up at the top is the most favorable approach, is to put this up on top. And ultimately what we're going to be doing here, but not in this video, is reducing the size of this image so that the text takes up more area to the right, and that ultimately the first line of products will show up with the written content being on top. I also recommend that when you're doing the markup for your collection pages, you focus on a single keyword phrase. Of course, in your description, you're going to have some other long tail keywords or extended phrases, as I like to call them, and other related words that are semantically related. And of course, your markup in your product pages are going to contribute to that on these collection pages. But ultimately, for those that are not well established, it's much better for Google to have that written content up on the top of the page and putting that emphasis on what Google is going to read first when it indexes all of your category pages. Now, let's take a look at product pages, because commonly everyone has large groups of similar products, no matter what your product line. On this particular site, it's all baby merchandise, clothing, toys, learning, books, etc., etc. Other people, it might be leather goods, handbags, boots, coats, etc., clothing, whatever the product line. There's also always going to be a lot of similarities of products. And this is my approach to handling a lot of that, especially when you don't necessarily have that ability to start with a keyword, a brand, and product description as part of your sort of 3 primary keyword strategy. Because of course, a lot of times we don't really have a brand, and the main item is the keyword and it is the description, as in this case. So what I often tell my clients to do is to start with their meta titles with similar products and open up all of their pages, as this client has a large selection of lifelike dolls. And you can see down at the bottom here the meta titles that we put in. So by laying out all the meta titles for about a dozen products that are very similar in nature, we can look at the changes that we're going to implement in the other fields, the description and the content of the page. Now, these keywords, they both come out of what the product is, keyword research, and because we have them all open, we can really kind of see the big picture when we start this first approach with the markup and just focus on the meta titles. Now, this client, like so many, often just loaded all of the default information that is provided by the product provider that they are reselling on their Shopify site. So we have our 3 titles, our 3 keywords, okay? And then look, this is our meta description, and you can see it's quite lengthy and it's too large and not really optimized for SEO, okay? And then, of course, we've got all of our content, and this is our page title, or H1, which is going to appear on the page. And this is where we're going to want to get our keywords as well. So with this particular type of products, the strength is going with the range of keywords that relate to this product. Now, just so you understand, this is a starting point. Sometimes because we have this very long phrase here, as part of our meta title, this is a hot phrase because this phrase and pieces of it, any way it breaks up, all have high keyword ranking value. And maybe, in the scope of things, as we start getting into modifying the individual pages, we might cut the meta title down to just 2 phrases because the first one is so long. So it tends to vary from time to time. And it just becomes a matter of judgment in the process. But what I did is I really worked out a unique approach to help the clients fast track re-optimizing the content for these pages. So let's take a look at that very briefly, and let's then get into using it in a real world scenario on this product page. Now, if you've been following this channel, I'm sure you're using ChatGPT. And if you're using ChatGPT, you should be on the paid version, which costs you $20 a month. And that gives you greater access to the ChatGPT 4, as well as access to GPTs. So, now with the recent advent of OpenAI's GPTs, what makes them stand out against something like prompts that you can get with the AI PRM prompts Chrome plugin, which I have spoken previously about on this channel? Well, now with GPTs, we can go up here and explore GPTs, and these are much more highly customizable because this is your own personal form of ChatGPT that you can train and provide information and the guidelines in order for it to be a tool that you can utilize in your daily workflow processes for all sorts of purposes. Now, that being said, I advise that if you haven't already, get in here and take a look. You can see they have category breakdown, but you can search by any topic, whether it's coding, SEO, and you can scroll through. Some are very good, some not so good. Some, that's because, everybody has their own approach to how they're doing them. These are all free and freely available to use, any ones that are in here. Okay, so now for me, since the advent of GPTs, this became a great opportunity for me, for my clients who purchase backlinking services, because those clients basically do most of their own SEO. They range from expert, mid-range, and sometimes they're beginner, but they have knowledge, and they know that they need backlinking. However, they're not really ready for the service. They need time to get their sites up to speed. There are certain things that I will instruct the clients and we provide training on to help them keep their sites up to speed and keep them informed of the current changes that are out there with algorithms and how to best approach them. And recently I found that GPTs is one of the best tools for helping me to create things for my clients, train them the way that is very good to help fast track them in their editing approaches on their websites, especially with Shopify, as I've been acquiring more and more of these type of clients, and the sites are extremely large and they often need to do mass levels of edits. So that being said, the GPTs that I'll be talking more about, this whole overview of OpenAI's GPT, how to create them, how to use them better, how to create great workflows for various processes, including the things that we do on this channel with a lot of the marketing softwares. But the GPTs that I make, that I'm going to distribute both freely and for sale, they are born of necessity. Tools that I had to create real world, get them working for me, and then get the client using them so they could do what they're supposed to do, which is their own SEO, and then I can do what I do on my end, which is often sometimes some content creation in terms of blogging and getting the link building process started for them. So what I've done now is make my own GPT, which we could see up here, which is the Shopify SEO Optimizer. Okay? And this is designed to work on and Shopify sites, but to do it with the approach that I outlined in this previous website here, where we start with 3 keyword phrases as our premise that is going to be the starting point or for building blocks of our SEO for each product page. Now, one thing I want to emphasize in this example is that we don't have a popular searchable brand name to include, and we don't have anything further descriptive to add into our meta title, like long sleeves, like we did in the previous example with the long sleeve sweatshirt. It's neither male or female, as dolls tend to be for girls. So we don't have any of those third word descriptors available to us, so we're going to be focusing just on keywords. However, the tool that we're going to use, the GPT here, will work just as effectively regardless of the approach. Now, because we're going to use this as our example, notice we've got like a 7-word phrase here. So we're gonna need to take that down to 3 or modify it slightly for our GPT. So I'm going to copy this out, and I'm going to go over to my GPT, and we're going to paste it in, but we're going to modify that. And what we want to do is get maximum value, because if I'm going to keep baby dolls in here, I'm not going to need it at the end here in this particular example. Now, what I might want to do is take this, oh, missed my S here, put silicone, reborn baby dolls, and lifelike we don't want more than 3 words in our keyword phrase, but we're going to try this with 4 on the end. Oh, I've already got that, and let's hit it. Now, it's going to ask us for the URL of the page. And now I've pasted my URL in, and the GPT will now go and scan the page, drawing upon the content that's already available and redefining our outline for the back-end information. Let's just give that a second. Now notice, the meta keywords that it's given us here is what I entered in for the actual meta description. I can choose to edit it and put that back, or I can leave it the way I was, and I want to leave it the way it was in this particular example. Now here, this is my H1 title that it's created for me. So I'm going to take that back over here, and that's what this is now going to become. I'm going to go back over to my ChatGPT, and I'm going to grab all of my page content here. Now it's actually telling me the headings, so we're going to paste that right in for the time being and edit it on the fly. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to select all, I'm going to paste all my new info in here. Okay? And here, where it told me it was supposed to be H2, I'll just take that out, and I set this to H2. Same thing. Here, this is H3, I set that to H3. Okay, again, H3. Now this GPT is designed to write compelling rewrites, and likewise, and to emphasize certain key points. Okay, a lot of training went into the actual approach for the rewrite to optimize for Shopify. So here, I just kind of get through them all. Heading 3. This one's supposed to be heading 2. And voila, I change it to heading 2. And that is my new. Now we can also take a look at the finished output. Now, notice how I said it wasn't necessary for us to add something about boy or girl, because generally dolls are for girls. However, the GPT read the content of this item, and in its optimization process suggested that in there for us, because that is what these dolls come in, a male and female option. And we can see our finished output here, which comes out quite nicely. All of my clients have been very happy with the output options that have been coming from this. So, that being said, now for anyone that's interested in taking advantage of this GPT, Shopify GPT is now available on dark marketing for $30. And at the time of this video, it's not yet available on SEO Depot, but it will be in the next day or two. Of course, for my clients, this is freely available. This tool will save you hundreds of hours of revamping your content on Shopify. And you'll be able to use it again and again in the future as you need to change or make changes to your product pages to adapt to changes with Google and other search engines. Also, the Shopify GPT will also take additional instructions for you so you can sort of customize the approach for your particular product pages. However, this works fantastic right out of the box once you have your 3 keyword phrases that you're going to supply it and the actual URL of the page. That being said, as I spoke about in previous videos, we're going to be getting into a lot more GPT, ChatGPT, and AI on this channel as it relates to a lot of the other things that we do here, including the marketing softwares. So you'll also find on this site right now is Syntax Master GPT, and it's completely free, and you can come here and just copy the link here and copy it directly into, paste it directly into ChatGPT, and it will make the Syntax Master GPT freely available to you. This Syntax tool has a huge thesaurus. I think it has over 400,000 words, if I'm not mistaken. And it is designed to prevent you from changing the syntax, from changing the meaning of your content. Extremely useful for Money Robot, RankerX, GSA Search Engine Ranker, and any other posting software or solution that requires syntax. Now, even though this Syntax GPT is designed not to change the meaning of your content, sometimes there are fine lines. And in my particular scenarios with some of my clients, I have situations where the word thermal and the word temperature often can be interchangeable and often cannot be interchangeable as a prefix word as part of a phrase. Temperature is really the word rather than thermal, and sometimes the opposite. But I don't want that syntax changing those words, thinking it's keeping the meaning the same. So we can supply a list of protected words that or phrases that we don't want Syntax Master to change for us. Other than that, you can just select this option and paste your entire content into here, and voila, you will have excellent syntax. This is my tool. I'm using it daily, and I invite you all to join me to use it for your other needs as it relates to the softwares we cover on this channel. I hope you enjoyed this video on Shopify SEO basics, and there will be more on Shopify. Also, I thought this was a good lead-in to start to talk more about ChatGPT and GPTs and AI technology, as we're going to be doing a lot more of this on this channel because, with many of the products that we cover on this channel for marketing purposes, and especially GSA website contact, people are looking for viable products that can take out into the marketplace. Not the same old, click, share, click bank type products, affiliate revenue, but rather to be in a position to create their own products and services using AI and market them. So I'm going to start to break into a lot more of that. I've been spending quite a bit of time in the last few months with AI, but for me, most of the solutions and things that I develop are born of necessity, and necessity is the mother of invention. But I wish that I could do a lot more, but I'll be doing things that really have the emphasis and focuses on SEO and marketing and the softwares we do, and a lot of the tools that I've been developing with GPTs, many that I'll be making available freely, a few I may be doing for resale. I don't know where that market with GPTs are going to go because this is such a rapidly evolving technology that, I'm not sure if it's going to be a long-term viability type product because the next thing is right around the corner. But ChatGPT is moving now to have a store for the GPT. So we're definitely moving in that direction, and let's see where that goes. And I'm going to talk more and do videos about how to create GPTs. So that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you guys like this content, please don't forget to give us a like and to follow us, because I've got more on the horizon. I know many of you have been asking me about XRumor. Well, I just acquired the most recent version, was just released with AI, and I'm getting reacquainted with it. They don't have the manual out yet, but for the most part, much of it is identical as the previous version. So it's just a matter of getting back involved, but it's a time-consuming process. It has to be run in phases, and the documentation is not fantastic, and so it's a step-by-step. It's the kind of thing where I really need to just take 2 or 3 days off and put all my attention on it, but unfortunately I'm just not in that position, so I'm constantly, working on it, around everything. But I'm very excited about that, especially with the advent of AI in this version. I just see amazing potential for XRumor for both marketing and even ranking when done correctly. I'll also be probably putting out another video very quickly, since Google just came out with a new core update yesterday, or at least from the time standpoint that I'm recording today. So, and definitely some very interesting things to talk about there as far as what's been going on and helpful content update. That's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. This is Big Dom. Have a great day.